So like other people can be like, oh, I have an idea for an AMM that, does fees this way, or that it, does what, I don't know what all the different variations are, but it's like literally the same move.
Yeah, definitely. I think that totally resonates with me. And I think that like, I definitely have like looked to Ethereum as guidance for what I think is like a good project within the crypto space, and has like good philosophies behind it. And there are there's a lot that can go into that, and there's a lot that you could unpack there. But it's definitely like a move towards greater expressiveness and customizability and generalizability. And it's not Turing complete like Ethereum, but it is closer to Turing complete than Uniswap v3, in that you can express more preferences and do a lot more with it.
So aside from that fact that you were sort of dictating choices onto developers, there were also actual problems just like with using it and stuff. So what are some of the problems that you wanted to try to solve with Uniswap v4, and what are the features and solutions that you've come up with?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's see. So Uniswap v3, like I'd say that for me, some of the most interesting, I'd say that like one very interesting starting place is fees, like liquidity provider fees. Not, you can ignore the other forms of fees, of gas fees and governance fees and all that. I'd say that like liquidity provider fees, for like the longest time in Uniswap's history, it's always been like, what is the optimal fee? And, how do you set it? And all of these, for liquidity providers. And the answer has always been like the V1, it was like, okay, we're just gonna, we don't want to introduce some governance system. We don't want to introduce some like let's just make it 0.3%. And that was the number. It was a magic number, and it kind of worked in a way. Actually started out as 0.25%, and I was on a plane with Vitalik, and we were having a conversation, and he said, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm worried 0.25% might be too low. And he's like, well, you could do 0.3%. And I was like, okay. And I changed the code, and that's how it happened. That was all the thought that went into it. Vaguely looked at V2 kind of had a similar pattern. V3 introduced fee tiers, which was basically like anyone could deploy. You could deploy pools with a bunch of different fee tiers. And the idea here is that like the more sophisticated the liquidity provision, the more trading volume that's going through a pool, probably like very often lower fees are better than higher fees. Another thing is like the volatility of the asset. Like in a very volatile asset, you might need higher fees to make up for losses that you might incur for providing liquidity, right?